up until now, I've been talking primarily about the HDMI video enhancement in HDMI 1.3. HDMI 1.3 also improved the audio capabilities. Specifically, most importantly, we have the ability to carry high bitrate audio formats now with HDMI 1.3. These high bitrate audio formats are new audio formats that are first going to appear on the HD DVD and Blu-ray disc formats, but we'll also see them pretty common in the future. The two most important of the new formats is Dolby True HD and DTS HD Master Audio. Dolby and DTS have had many digital audio formats before. The most common, of course, is Dolby Digital and standard DTS. But these new formats differ from pretty much all of the old formats in one significant way, in that these formats are lossless. The compression used to reduce the amount of audio data that's stored on the disk, or in our case, transmitted across the link. That compression is either a lossless, as in these cases, or in the previous case, a lossy. And lossy compression is just that. It loses some of the audio data. In other words, it will lose some of the audio fidelity. So for the highest level of audio fidelity, you don't really have a choice but to compress it in lossless, or else not compress it at all. And not compressing at all is not really an option, because we're now supporting not only 2 channels and not only 6 channels, but even as much as 8 channels or higher with these new formats. And the samples for each one of those channels is not only sampled at 48 kilohertz, which is very common on DVD, but up to 96 kilohertz and even up to 192 kilohertz. And in addition, we're not limited to the 16 bits per sample that we were limited to with DVD, but we're going past 20 and on up to 24 bits. So with these type of numbers, instead of these type of numbers, or I should say these type of numbers, then we've significantly increased the amount of audio data that is being captured, that wants to be captured on that disk. So you really don't have too much of a choice but to compress that somehow to save the amount of disk that's used. And there you have the choices between a lossy compression and losing some of the fidelity, or a lossless compression. Obviously, lossless is, as I said, the only way to maintain the highest level of fidelity. So HDMI 1.3 does now support these new high bitrate audio formats. In addition to the ability to carry the audio, there's one other audio-related area that we improved on HDMI 1.3, and that's actually a lip sync, what we call lip sync capability. With the new video formatting, video processing capabilities present in the TVs today, the amount of processing that's done actually delays the video. So from the time that the video signal comes into the TV set to the time it appears on the screen can be many milliseconds. Now, it used to be virtually instantaneous with an old analog TV. It was basically microseconds. But now it can be many milliseconds, 50 milliseconds, or even worse cases we've seen are 100 milliseconds and more. That type of number, say just 50 milliseconds to take an example, is audible. You can now see the difference between you can hear the difference, I should say, between when a person is speaking on the screen and when the sound comes out of the speakers, because the sound comes in and goes out the speakers pretty much instantaneously still, but the video now is delayed by 50 milliseconds, so now you have a synchronization problem, or what we call lip sync. This, again, is caused by the improvement in the video processing capability. As the video processors have gotten better and better and better, they've needed to use more and more video data in order to create a good picture. So that accumulation of video data is what added the delay to the video. You can do effectively a similar thing to the audio. You just add more delay to the audio and that'll resynchronize it. So if we add that same 50 millisecond delay that the video added, we add that same to the audio, we now have them in sync again. With HDMI 1.3, this capability is most commonly used in a typical home theater environment where you have DVD player or some source talking to an AV receiver, talking to a TV set. The audio and video will get passed through to the AV receiver, and then the AV receiver renders the audio and passes the video on to the TV. In this situation, the audio comes out at one point in time, the video goes down, gets delayed by 50 milliseconds, and it comes out 50 milliseconds later. So what needs to happen is this AV receiver needs to know that that TV delayed the video by 50 milliseconds. HDMI 1.3 solves this problem by having an indication that the TV can use to tell the AV receiver or any source upstream what its video delay is. So basically it's very simple. The TV says my delay is 50 milliseconds. The AV receiver says I'll take that into account. I will add a corresponding 50 millisecond delay to the audio here, and that causes the two to resynchronize. Now you don't have the lip sync issue that you had before. This enhanced video processing capabilities of these TVs is becoming very common now. This is actually something you find in almost any high-end TV set. So you will have this, you almost will have this problem more likely. The more you spend for your TV set, the more likely you're going to have this problem. And with HDMI 1.3, we've now addressed it. So those are the capabilities of HDMI 1.3. Thank you for joining me. I'm Paul Wolf.